The only disturbing area in this scenario is the threat to me and one of my 2 daughters. Some of these guys, who I believe are mentally deranged, dared me. If you like, if you go to court, we shall burn your office. They have also sent messages to one of my daughters that if your father goes to court, we shall kill you. I beg your pardon. In this country. I just laughed and I asked my girl, don't worry, I will take it up.
Where are you like this?
Truth be told, I don't want to lie to you. You're my person. I'm not in prison, but I'm around there. They got me an apartment, because of my godfather.
So basically, Bob was put outside the prison, close to the prison in an apartment.
Please note, views and opinions expressed in the course of this program do not represent that of OTV. Therefore, this channel is not liable to any legal action that may result from this program.
Ẹ kú dédé àsìkò yìí, ẹ sì káàbọ̀ sórí ètò ọmọ Oòduà tó ń dé sójú ìwòran yín o láti iléeṣẹ́ ìkànnì Wo TV. Òdu ni wá àwa kì í ṣàìmọ̀ fún lóko. A tún ti dé o sórí ètò bá a ti ṣe máa ń dé. Tó ètò ọ̀hún ló wá balẹ̀ báyìí bí ọ̀wọ̀ ara òjò sójúde yín o. Àwa òmìnira bá ń wá pèrè fìdí àbẹ́ bá ń fìdí tí a pèrè mọ́lẹ̀. Kájọ kan lágbá mi ètò tòní nítorí pé ń dá mú afúra wa lórí ètò lónìí ó gbọgbọ́n. Kódà ó gbẹ̀ngbẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ ń pè ní ó gbẹ̀ngbẹ́ nítorí pé kàyéfì ọ̀rọ̀ ni ọ̀rọ̀ kàbìtì la máa ń pè ní kàyéfì ọ̀rọ̀. Tó ẹ bá ń wá pèrè fìdí àbẹ́ bá ń fìdí tí a pèrè mọ́lẹ̀ ká kọ́ lágbá mi ètò tọ̀hún ká máa bá kíní ọ̀hún bọ̀ bá a ti ṣe máa ń ṣe tá a máa ń kìbọnú ara wọn lẹ́lẹ́yọ̀ ẹ̀yọ̀ bó bá ti wá yá yín bó bá ti yégun ni o ṣe mọ̀ pé ó ti yọ́rẹ́ àwa tá a wà ń bí náà àbá tèrè wá bí torí pé bàbá débi iṣẹ́ ṣíṣe náà là á ṣe ó ti wá yá ẹja jọ karabodò torí pé àní karabodò tán ká tó ṣe máa wá parọ́ pò tútù mú wá o ó ti yá bó bá ti yá yín ẹja jọ lọ.
Brought to the Kirikiri Correctional Center in 2002 through a prison exchange program. 6 of them were forgotten in the prison. A lawyer had taken up their matter pro bono and had traveled from the High Court to the Supreme Court. They lost the case. So when their family members came to me, I studied the case. And I contacted a human rights body in Thailand where they were brought, who investigated and discovered, to my utter chagrin, that those guys were pardoned in 2017. Meanwhile, they were still languishing in Kirikiri Correctional Center in 2022. From there, I contacted our ambassador in Thailand to forward the instruments to me, because he too confirmed my finding, but he said, Mr. Falana, I cannot pass them to you directly. Why don't you go through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs? I contacted the then Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Oyama. Mr. Jeffrey Oyama, a fine gentleman, totally committed to the defense of the rights of Nigerians. And what he simply asked me, Femi, what do I do? I mean, what do you want? I said, no, I'm sending a letter to you requesting for copies of the royal pardon granted to 6 Nigerians languishing in prison custody here. He himself is a lawyer. He too was flabbergasted. He assured me that he would do the needful. And as soon as he got my letter, he sent it to Thailand. The instruments of pardon were brought to Nigeria. I did a letter addressed to the then Minister of Foreign Affairs, Interior, Ogbeni Rao Fareboshala. On the day he received the letter, he ordered the authorities of the correctional center, Kirikiri Correctional Center, to release them.
So these are just 6 among...
Only 2 of them came here to thank me, because we don't go after, those who have benefited from our human rights activity or work.
So in other words, these were just 6 among the 280 beneficiaries which you stated. And you have not collected a single kobo.
You see, under the military, in 1991, 12 young persons that the media referred to them as kid robbers were convicted in Lagos and sentenced to death. We identified a case of mistrial because they were charged with conspiracy and armed robbery. We discovered that the 12 young people did not speak a common language. Some of them are Ghanaians, some Togolese, and some Nigerians. In fact, some Beninite. So, and you must speak a common language before you can establish a case of conspiracy. We took it up. The Ghanaian chambers went to court, and the court said there was an ouster clause. The jurisdiction of the court had been ousted. So we had problems to save them. Yet we all agreed we must do everything to save the lives of these young people. I then suggested to Chief Gani Fawemi that we could go via the African Charter. He said, Femi, why don't you try? We sent a petition to the African Commission. We now file an action under the African Charter in the Lagos High Court, holding at Ikeja here. The trial judge, Justice Eniola Longe, gave an order while granting leave for the enforcement of their fundamental rights. Order that the granting of stay shall operate as a stay of action pending the determination of the suit. So we served the order, prevented the prison or the government from executing. They were going to be executed on a particular Saturday. We got the order on a Friday. So we served the order, we saved their lives. A few months later, we have the short-lived civilian government under President Babangida between 1992 and 1993. I appealed to Governor Michael Otedola as the civilian governor of Lagos State. The old man considered our application, initially commuted their sentences to 10 years. A few months later, because of their good behavior in the prison, they were granted absolute pardon. I think the next challenge, the next one, was I think in 2009. 200 Nigerians were convicted and sentenced to death in Libya. The Diaspora Committee of the House of Reps headed by Abike Dabiri, cried to the government to intervene and save the lives of those Nigerians because there was a case of mistrial. How did that arise? The trial was conducted in Arabic, and none of the convicts heard Arabic. None of them spoke Arabic. So, we took it up by filing a complaint at the African Commission on Human and People's Rights in the Gambia. Because of the seriousness of the application. And of course, the commission will not treat my application with levity. Our application for provisional order, that is, injunction, was granted, restraining the government of Libya from proceeding with the execution of the 200 Nigerians. Nigerian government did not intervene. At the material time, the Honorable Justice Dupe Atoki, now of the ECOWAS court in Abuja, was a member of the commission. As soon as we got a certified true copy of the order through her, we served it on the Libyan government. A few months after, while we were still trying to persuade the government to comply with the order, President Muammar Gaddafi assumed the leadership of the African Union. He became the chair of the African Union. So we took advantage of that because he was going to address the United Nations on behalf of the African Union. So we sent a letter to him appealing for clemency for those Nigerians. And that since he was going to address the United Nations, he should demonstrate leadership by example. As the head of the African Union, you must comply with the decisions and orders of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights. Lo and behold, Gaddafi granted our request, pardoned the 200 Nigerians, and ordered that they be deported from Libya. I think the next group we saved, I'm sure you could recall in 2014, 2 sets of soldiers, totally 70, were convicted and sentenced to death for war-related crimes. In fact, specifically for mutiny. We defended 60 of them. Eventually, only 54 were charged. Another colleague defended 12. But altogether, 70 of them. They were convicted and sentenced to death. We appealed to the Chief of Army Staff. This guy committed no offense. They were asking for weapons to fight because the Boko Haram terrorists were well equipped and well motivated. Whereas our own soldiers at that time were best given 60 rounds of ammunition. And by the time the Boko Haram boys were coming, even the sound of their very powerful tools led to, in fact, some of our soldiers simply ran because they were not equipped. And so we addressed a letter to the Chief of Army Staff. Why those guys have to be pardoned? Because they committed no offense. They didn't join the army Nigerian army to commit suicide, but to fight. If in the process they got killed, so be it. But don't just send them to the battleground without adequate weapon, contrary to the provisions of the Constitution. Yeah.
You've mentioned
Again, the death sentences were commuted to 10 years. A few months later, we appealed to President Muhammadu Buhari, who granted them pardon. One general who we defended was convicted and sentenced to 6 months imprisonment and a reduction in his rank. In other words, he was downgraded from the rank of brigadier general to a colonel. We took up his matter and ensured that justice was done. We petitioned the Army Council. His conviction and imprisonment for 6 months was set aside. But the reduction was suppressed. We now petition President Muhammadu Buhari. We say, Mr. President, in fact, it was the same time we sent the petition of the 70 soldiers. Mr. President, you set up an arms procurement, presidential arms procurement panel to investigate the management of about $2.1 billion meant for procurement of arms and ammunition. Through the investigation, those who engage in the criminal diversion of the fund have been identified. Some of them have been charged before the Federal High Court. So on what ground can you uphold, can these people, these 70 soldiers and this fine army officer, on what ground can we continue to punish them? The president saw merit in our application, granted them pardon. Happily, the rank of the general has been restored as a result of the presidential pardon. The 70 soldiers were pursuing the payment of their entitlement. Since the authorities have not paid them their entitlement, we've gone to court on their behalf, again at our own expense. The case will come up in the court on the 9th of February. I think the last one we did, I think we appealed to the late Governor Ajimobi.
Okay.
Jibola Ajimobi, Abiola Ajimobi, formerly of Oyo State. Somebody in Kirikiri had spent about 25 years. He was convicted, I think, for murder, but his health, was failing, was a terminal disease, and under Regulation 12. Made in 1916 by the colonial regime. If you suffer from a terminal disease in the prison and the prison cannot take care of you, your family can apply to have you treated. So we asked the governor, please allow the man to go home. He has done 25 years. Now his health is very bad. He might die in the prison. And so the governor, again, saw merit in our application and granted him pardon. The only one that came back to offer us money was the general, because he had just been paid his entitlement. He then came back to say, sir, what is your fee? And I said, my friend, why are you insulting me? You are the son of my friend. And what I mean is that his father and I were in the struggle, even though much older. So it's like charging him. I defended you. I was traveling to Abuja at my own expense. I was staying, for security reasons, in an expensive hotel in Abuja, right? Sometimes I stay in Abuja for 3 days. I didn't charge you. Even with what you have been giving, you can't pay my fees. I'm not charging you. We don't charge for pardon. He and his wife couldn't just believe. I think on their way downstairs, on their own, they said, no, this is unbelievable. I think they came back, right, to give 1 million naira to my staff, but not to my lawyers. I'm talking of secretarial staff, So we have never, ever collected a dime, 1 kobo, from all the beneficiaries of the pardon that we applied for.
Now, let me ask you something.
For that reason, the allegation is totally uncalled for. Totally uncalled for. Totally unwarranted.
How about the allegation that your son, Falls, is standing as a front for you, sir? How do you respond to that?
Well, these guys don't know me. They also don't know my son, even though it's of their generation. He stands out for principle. He stands out for decency and will never go out of his way to front for me. The guy doesn't want anybody to know that it's my son. When he started his musical career, he was with us in practice. He left, he abandoned practice, legal practice. He was doing fantastically well. So he said, Dad, I'm no longer going to practice law. I'm going to entertainment world. When he started, he was invited, I think, by the NTA for an interview. Right? And he was introduced as Falana Falls. So when he came back home, he was still living with us then. His mother asked him, why are you going about calling yourself Falana Falls? He said, what should I call myself? Femi Falana. So that the name can open doors for you. He said, Mom, I don't want anybody's name to open doors for me. I want to open my own doors. Because if I had said I was Femi Falana and that interview was granted, I might have felt maybe it was because of my father's name. No. Mom, the day I will be happy is when they ask you, are you fast, Mom? And when they ask my father, are you fast, Dad? So he has never gone out of his way. You can check from his friends to introduce himself as Falana's son. One day, I was at the Abuja airport waiting for my flight, and some young girls came to me. Said, sir, is it true you are fast, Dad? I smiled. I think so. So wow. They embraced me. So when I got home, I called him. Young man, today, some young guys besieged me in Abuja and asked whether, he said, what did they ask? They said, are you fast, father? He was happy. He said, that is what I want. And called the mother to hear my story. So he will not go out of his way. And, it's a bit painful. Because last year, he went for a surgery in the UK. I think, he plays football. So he had a knee injury. So the operation was successful. His mother and I were coming home from Cuba. So we decided to check him in the United Kingdom, travel via London. And so we saw the young man. So please, as our contribution, like I said, we congratulated him, the operation was successful. Can we pick up the bill? He said, no, Dad, no, Mom. I pay my bill before come here. So I hope I'm not being rude. He said, no, we're happy. I told him. Then I told my wife, your son is telling you that he's richer than you. He said, no, that's not what I'm saying. But I just, if I needed financial assistance, I would have told you, but I don't need it. So he's not the kind of person that will call anybody. And in any case, he and his siblings, his two sisters, regularly refer victims of injustice, victims of human rights abuse to us without any condition attached. And just recently, I was telling him in particular, come, you and your sisters, you just send people to us. The way you are going, very soon, we'll be sending you our bill. We just laugh over it. So he can never, because he knows it is not our practice to take money for pardon. So he couldn't have been talking about money. And if you look at that tape very well, I think the guy was alleged to be saying, first I said that my father will help to write a letter or whatever, but Nigeria being very corrupt, we may need 10 million naira. He didn't say he was going to give me 10 million naira. In the so-called private discussion with somebody, it was somebody else who now decided to interpret the recording by now saying, oh, I'm disappointed that Falana can take 10 million naira to write a letter of pardon. Oh, I used to have respect for him. So it was totally uncalled for. And if you now say, I'm your uncle, as we are being told now, why did you not put a court through? This is the allegation flying around. Is it true that you were going to, or that you had collected, because they say I had collected 10 million naira, to write a letter of pardon for a convict? Again, as I said, it is not part of our practice.
Let me get your perspective on this. You've mentioned that you will pursue civil proceedings instead of criminal charges against a very dark man. Why did you choose this route? And I'm sure you have also explored the Cybercrime Law Act in order to file charges against him. Why have you decided to pursue civil proceedings?
Frankly speaking, many people, including senior lawyers, suggested that I should file a criminal complaint. So in February this year, the National Assembly amended the Cybercrimes Act and removed all those provisions that relate to libel or defamation. So today, a person can only be prosecuted under that law if he uses a computer to send pornographic materials or statements that are capable to cause a breach of the peace in the society. It has nothing to do with protecting any individual. That is the state of the law today. So I couldn't have filed a petition under the Cybercrimes Act, because right now I'm defending two journalists who were charged now, who are standing trial for cyber stalking or whatever, and we have raised serious objections. In one of them, the court had agreed, yes, the law has been amended, but this offense was committed when the law was still valid. We are proceeding to the Court of Appeal. But on a more serious note, the campaign we are leading for decriminalization has yielded fruits in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, and Ghana. Those countries, the parliaments in those countries, have put together all anti-democratic legislation, anti-press laws, all anti-press criminal laws, and repealed them. So you now have to go to court to sue for libel or slander. Now, Lagos and Edo State have also repealed criminal libel. So, from the statute book, only those two states in Nigeria. So, we're trying to get these laws, and we're trying to appeal to other state governments to wipe out criminal libel from their criminal codes. So this is the state of the, for that reason. It's not that there are no other criminal offenses. For instance, injurious falsehood, false information. You know, if you give false information to about somebody to the outside world or to the members of the public, we can lodge a complaint. The only disturbing area in this scenario is the threat to me and one of my two daughters. Some of these guys, who I believe are mentally deranged, dared me. If you like, if you go to court, we shall burn your office. They have also sent messages to one of my daughters that if your father goes to court, we shall kill you. I beg your pardon. In this country. I just laughed and I asked my girl, don't worry, I will take it up. I've already taken that up. Because we must also let these guys know where we are coming from. We fought against some of the most murderous military regimes in Africa. The fact that I'm alive today is Sherlock, to the grace of God. You know why? Why? In 1992, the late Chief Ganifawa Meyese, the late Dr. Bekon Somkuchi and I were detained in Kuje prisons, from where we were charged with treasonable felony by the Babangida military regime. In 1993, the three of us were also detained in Kuje prisons after we had been charged with organizing protests against the annulment of June 12 election. In 1996, Dr. Bekon Somkuchi had been jailed and was serving prison time, life imprisonment in Katsina. Here and Shehu Sani were jailed together. The late Chief Ganifa Amin was detained in Bauchi prison. I was detained in Mawadashi prison in Jigawa State. Femi Falana was detained in Gumea prison in Jigawa State. That year alone, we were detained for 10 months. I was arrested there on 14th of February, 1996, only to be released on November 20, 1996. It will interest you that the Buhari Idi Agbon regime, military junta, detained me and left me in prison. Babangida released me, but when he was going, he also left us in prison. Right? He left three of us in prison. The late Chief Ganifa Amin, the late Dr. Bekon Somkuchi and myself. It was the Chonekon contraption. The interim government of
Chief Ernest Cheneko, that released us. So we've gone through this horrendous experience only to be intimidated now, or only for some rookie radicals to dare me and threaten me not to go to court. Even if I wasn't planning to go to court before, I'm going to call off their bluff and to let them know that we now operate in a country where the rights of everybody must be respected. So, for these reasons, I couldn't have filed a criminal complaint. Because when you file a criminal complaint and you ask people, of course, the criminal libel still operates in Abuja. If I had gone that route, an arrest would have been made. Charges would have been filed. A conviction may be secured. So what will I gain from that? So I'm not going to report anybody for criminal libel.
Let me also get your clarification on this. You stated during the course of your recent interview that you've never had any contact whatsoever with Bobrisky. How about Very Dark Man? Has your chambers ever had anything?
No. Never. I've never spoken to him. I've never met him. I do not know him from Adam. No, and I'm serious about this. My son, before this incident, never told me anything about him. It was after that publication that I called him. What happened? And he said, on May 4 this year, this guy called me from the correctional center. And he asked him, are you calling through the superintendent of prisons? He said no. Say, please, I'm trying to raise 3 million naira so that I can be placed in a special part of the prison, as in the VIP section. Man said, please, stop calling me. And if you're going to call me next time, do it through the proper channel, or if you're going to write a letter, let it be endorsed. I had to ask him, right?
That's right.
I mean, what gave you that idea about that? You were regularly detained in a prison, so I should be familiar with the laws and regulations. So I know under the law, you can't communicate with anybody outside the prison without going through the official, channel. And if you're going to send a letter, it must be endorsed. So I was being careful. And I advised him. I know you appeal to other people, but that was it. And that was the last time my son spoke to him. It had nothing to do with pardon. Right? Because my son knows that we do not charge for pardon. So he couldn't have been discussing or negotiating. And my son has never negotiated our fees with anybody. On the contrary, he sends people here, right, for us to handle their matters pro bono, without taking a dime.
Where are you like this?
Truth be told, I don't want to lie to you. You're my person. I'm not in prison, but I'm around there. They got an apartment, because of my godfather.
So basically, Bob was put outside the prison, close to the prison in an apartment. Hello? Hello?
Hello, hi.
Bob, how you doing?
I'm okay.
Are you out yet?
I'm not out there.
Oh my God.
Okay, so quick, but I don't have enough time because, I just had to, but the reason why I'm even trying to talk to you about this is because obviously I've not been talking to anybody. People have been sending me so much messages about I've not been responding because I don't want anybody to know I have my phone.
Yeah.
So
First things first, I don't want anybody to know I have my phone. That is why Bobrisky have not been responding to people sending me messages. But let's continue.
So I only want to talk to somebody that I know that I can trust. Yeah. So obviously you knew what happened to me, right? Mm-hmm. So before the EFCC, they were investigating me, about the cars, money, and everything, all this while. So I knew one day they will come for me like this because of the noise and all that. But it's fine. So when they were investigating me, they blocked my account. They froze my account. Obviously, they don't want me to do any transaction on it while they're doing their ongoing investigation.
Now, before we continue, the revelation of EFCC in the House of Rep, EFCC said they never froze his account. Now, Bobrisky is saying his account was frozen. Let's continue.
So, but I'm so glad that they did not. At first, they added money laundering charges in their charge because of the money they saw in my account and all the money that passed through my account. At least they were able. So they just saw so much, but we're able to beg them and give them some money so they can drop the money laundering charges with us.
Now, he said they saw some money in his account and some money that passed through his account. So they investigated him for money laundering. But they begged and they paid the FCC some money and the money laundering charges were dropped. This is another recording entirely. So let's continue anyways.
I can't be facing money laundering charges, God forbid. Spraying of money. I don't say that one. They're looking for something to just hold me. They just eat that. It's not like I'm the only one that sprayed money. Yeah. There are a lot of people spraying money out there. Plenty. But you want to convince me because of spraying money. And that's quite weird. But me, I'm strong. And I'm ready for anything that comes my way. Because I don't know. No, obviously, I knew the OMV, AIDS, the ATAR, Shana Oliam. I knew one day to enter this, And another thing that made me happy was the fact that they did a proper investigation on me and they noticed that I am not into money laundering and I'm not into fraud. Yeah. Every money, the cars, they came to my house. They carried my car now. They carried my car. They carried everything, because they were doing. They thought coming to me, they will see people I do business with.
So EFCC went to his house, they carried his cars. While we were out in the House of Rep, EFCC said they did not freeze his account. Now, Bobrisky is saying his account was frozen and EFCC even went to his house to carry his car. Let's continue. This ring lights, bless you, on the week.
WhatsApp or an email. But it's also that they were not able to find any of such. My money is legit. I keep saying this thing, but people don't believe. They think I'm into fraud or I'm into picking money for politicians or whatever. But they run a proper checkup and they couldn't even find any of that on me. All the money I have.
This same person that is saying that they saw some money that passed through his account. Do you understand? After saying the truth the first time, like saying don't know, saying don't cast. He concretely tried to correct what he said. So in one breath, you're saying they saw some money in your account and you paid the FCC. In another breath, you're saying, oh, the money that you're having is a legit money. But let's continue anyways.
All the money I have are genuine, and the sources are like most of my influencing. Like that day I called, the old man wants to pay me 10,000 pounds. I told you that it's for influencing. So, like people, they don't know how I charge a lot of money for influencing. They don't know, So, but I made them to understand that I charge as far as $100,000 to influence.
$100,000 for influencing. $100,000 for influencing. ECFCC will now go really invest. Nana, I'm really curious of the amount EFCC saw in this account. You understand? Okay, let's go on.
So if you think you cannot do it, all fingers are equal. Some other people do it, and trust me, God bless the also. So, they did all that, and obviously I met a very terrible judge. The judge wasn't coming. The judge wasn't fair as well. Coming. He's not there. Okay, can you excuse me? I'm on the phone. Yeah. So.
Wait. Before we continue, coming. That means Bobrisky obviously had like a maid, like somebody helping him in the house. Obviously, this part you will know that he is not in prison. But the good part is that the person now asked him. Let's continue.
Where are you like this?
Truth be told, I don't want to lie to you. You're my person. I'm not in prison, but I'm around there. They got me an apartment, because of my godfather. My godfather was able to tell never, you will not see another prison. Let the world think you are dead, but you will never, So we're able to talk to the deputy controller in Nigeria. And they said that in as much as Bob is looked, they really have a problem with Bob. If Bob is not posting anything, Bob is not saying anything, Bob is not doing anything, that they can put me close to the place. So I can always come inside and see people as if I'm welcoming my family. That nobody needs to know. Do you understand? So, I have.
So basically, Bob was put outside the prison, close to the prison in an apartment. So anytime he has like a visitor, he will quickly come inside the prison and welcome his visitor and his family members. Now, I remember that when we were at the House of Reps for the investigation, one of the prison wardens said, he has the list of the people that came to visit Bob. So basically, anytime that people want to come and visit Bob, they'll quickly tell him to rush and come back to the prison to come and see the people that want to visit him. Let's continue.
So I'm just close. I'm close to the premises, but I'm not in there because they are all scared of why do we want to put you in a male facility where they're scared of harassment and everything. So but nobody knows this information. It's just you.
Okay.
So yeah, that's that aside. There. Secondly, my godfather has done a lot. That's why I don't want to call it for any more requests, because putting me out here alone in this apartment, I am well-furnished apartment alone is something. He paid a whole lot. So my lawyer called me and said, so they are he got me a son. My godfather got me a new son. So now we are trying to get the pardon from the federal.
You heard, the godfather gave him a son, got him a son. Now, in the other recording I played, he said he spoke to Fowles, and Fowles spoke to his father, according to the other one. And in this other one now, he's saying that his godfather got him a son, meaning the story of the son. I don't know if it's true, but this is the second time he's calling his son in two different conversations with two different people. Now, you heard him, he said a well-furnished apartment that his godfather got for him. Wow, this is crazy. I really want to know this godfather, and I really want to know if this is how it works with the Nigerian prison. So let's ask ourselves the question, how many people really went to prison, all these big men, where they say that did Evans the kidnapper actually go to prison? Now, I'm really curious about the rich people that have gone to prison. But anyways, let's continue.
Federal government, that's from presidents, trying to get a pardon. Are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so we're trying to get a pardon from him. That is the only one that can actually take me out here ASAP. Normally, I'm supposed to finish my term by July. But if I'm able to get the amnesty, that's the pardon, I'm going to leave here in first week of next month.
Right.
But the money he was asking for, it's a big sum, obviously, you call it big money. So we should pay 10 million. And that's the thing I can even transfer.
Again, in the other recording where he said he spoke to Files and Files said he was going to talk to his father, he said they paid 10 million. Now again, he's saying that the son collected upfront of 5 million and the total money the son requested was 10 million naira. However, in this part, he didn't call Files and he didn't talk about the father. In this part, he just talked about his son. Do you understand? But in the other recording, it made mention of a name, you know. Okay, well anyways, let's continue before I make some innuendos.
If an account was okay.
Yeah.
So my godfather gave me 5 million. You know, like he has done well.
Say that
So
again, sorry?
since I'm
Say that again.
sorry,
Say
my
that. What did you say?
godfather gave me
Sorry,
5 million.
Okay.
5 million, yes. So he has done. We set that one to him since last 2 weeks. So he has submitted the pardon.
Alright, so they sent 5 million to the son since last week. You know, he has submitted for the pardon. The whole money that they agreed was 10 million naira. Now, the first thing he said was, I don't want anybody to know I have a phone. Number two, EFCC froze his accounts. They saw some money, then Bob begged them and paid them some money to drop charges. EFCC carried his cars. He initially said EFCC saw some money and he paid the EFCC. In the same breath, he's saying that it's legit. Okay, now when he was on this call, someone entered the apartment. That means he has like a housekeeper or a maid. Obviously, he was not in prison. And then he used his mouth to say that he was not in prison because his godfather said never. He is not going to prison. Do you understand? So now, for those of you that want to say, okay, this is AI generated, we need forensics. You understand? We'll take this to any lab so that they can authenticate if the call is true or false. Now, for those of you that are saying I defame Femi Falana or Files or anybody, honestly, I didn't call nobody's name. Do you understand? Yeah, their name appeared. It's easy. They should go and do forensics on all this call. Then if at the end of the day, the call is true and Bob actually told people about their involvement and maybe later they are not involved in it, do you understand? Then they can ask Bobrisky that why are you using our name? Why are you spreading lies about us? Do you understand? Because whether or not Very Dark Man is the one that posted it, this kind of news is not good if it is false, if it is not true. You don't stain Uncle Femi be that now. You don't stain Files the bad guy be that now. Because now so all this underground story, one day you could just hear and pull, no be Femi Falana we collect money from Bobrisky, no be Files. You know, they need to clear their name of this thing. Instead of saying you go file a charge against Very Dark Man for an innuendo, you need to actually clear your name properly from this mess. This is a mess. This is a very big mess. It is. You understand? So instead of now to come the threatening VDM, wanna go do the right thing. You people should ask for this audio to do a forensics on the call. It's not a recording, it's a call recording. It's not a sound recording or audio, maybe the recorder. No. We should go and do the proper investigation and let Very Dark Man rest. Thank you very much. Corruption have no place in Nigeria. We should join on together to kick corruption out. Do you understand? We should join us together to kick corruption out of Nigeria and out of the system. Peace and love.